Jimmy Tillene will be frustrated. Plenty of possession, plenty of territory for the Dons. But Amar Fatah's goal earning Jim Goodwin's side a point. Michael, your thoughts on that one and your player of the match?
Well, it was an even contest laterally there. Aberdeen are frustrated that they've not been able to pick up the 3 points, but an industrious performance in the middle of the park for me. Chevet for Dundee United, he was constantly involved in the game, always picking up second balls and a big involvement, a big player for Dundee United. He was my man of the match, Callum. A point apiece, perhaps 1 minute shy of the end of the game as well. I'm not sure how that was calculated, but frustration for the home side suggests Dundee United, they'll be happy with that point, I think.
Will Aberdeen remain in the top 6 after that one? 3 behind Hibernian as we approach the final fixture of 2025 on Tuesday. Plenty of exciting action to come. It finishes here at Pittodrie. Aberdeen 1, Dundee United 1.
Thank you very much for that, Callum. Thank you to Michael Stewart as well. The new firm derby ends in a point apiece then here at Pittodrie. Michael Stewart, Alan Hutton still alongside me. We did feel as if we'd lost a bit of a minute there. We're going to get a bit of clarification as to what happened there. But certainly from an Aberdeen perspective, we'd heard booing at half-time. The fans looked a little bit more, well, less frustrated, a bit happier leaving here Pittodrie, at least with something, Alan.
Yeah, well, they scored the goal, they get back into the game. I thought they were pressing. Mikey mentioned that the change in formation, I think, helped them. And they had a lot of attacking threat on the pitch and making better decisions in moments. I thought as well they could have done better with their movement and stuff in the final third. But well, I think Jim Goodwin comes away from this game, another tough game, another tough outing. With a point, he'll be happy. But from Aberdeen, look, they pushed right to the very end, Charlie.
I think Dundee United, Jim Goodwin will be delighted with the defensive performance. What he won't be happy with is Richards. He's got to put the ball round the post. That goal was just... I spoke about it before the game. They miss Walton. They've not found a goalkeeper to replace him. Goalkeepers keep making errors and not making saves when called upon, and Richards will be really disappointed with that. But because all in all, Dundee United defended really well and offered a threat in the counter-attack, and then even came into it in the second half and had spells of possession and looked a threat without creating too many clear-cut chances. But that's a game where you're looking to get away with a 1-0 win, and they didn't do it. Richards has got to do better, and then Aberdeen just never offered enough in that final third.
The fans here at Pittodrie pretty happy with that in the end, but let's have a look at the rest of the results earlier in the Scottish Premiership. It was some game at Easter Road, 3-2 Hibernian victors in the Edinburgh Derby. Dundee 1-0 winners against Falkirk, and it was 4 goals for Celtic in the Wilfred Nonsi era. It continues the second win for him against Livingston. Rangers 1-0 winners against Motherwell. A bit of controversy there, I believe, with a penalty.
I've not seen it, because obviously we're here.
Of course. There's been no chat at all in the WhatsApp about that whatsoever, none. St Mirren 0-0, and Aberdeen, of course, here against Dundee United, it was 1-1. How does that affect things in the Scottish Premiership table? Well, Hearts still lead the way on 41 points. 3 points behind are the champions Celtic with that game in hand. Aberdeen keep themselves in the top 6. Dundee United and Falkirk chapping at the door. So it was Dundee United who opened the scoring here pretty much against the run of play, but in the second half Aberdeen came calling, desperate to get the 3 points, but they had to make do with 1. All the analysis on the way next. Right, today here at Pittodrie, Vico Chevet, the Dundee United player, was the player of the match. He was Michael Stewart's pick. He's been chatting to Stephen Craigan.
Vico, a hard-fought game here this evening against Aberdeen. What's your take on the game?
I think it was a really tough match, I think for both sides. I think visitors could enjoy the match. I think it was really entertaining from the both sides. We've been up 1-0 in the first half. Sadly, we couldn't keep it like that. You know, we wanted to come here and take 3 points, but you have to give credit to Aberdeen. Also, they've been really good at the second half, and I think that's a fair result. You know.
It looked difficult in that first half at times. You managed to get yourself ahead, but Aberdeen had lots of pressure without really cutting open your goal. So was it all about being disciplined and being hard to play against?
Aberdeen are a really good team in possession. You know, we know our advantages. I think maybe if we scored one more and we have had a few opportunities that we can win the game. But Aberdeen scored and that's it. A draw, I think it's fair enough.
Is it disappointing when you go away from home, when you get that lead, that you can't hold on to it for that little bit more? Because it's been a long time since Dundee United won away from home in the Premiership, almost 4 months. Is it becoming difficult?
Well, we go every game on a win, you know, but something it's obviously not clicking at the moment. But I believe in the squad. I think everyone sees that we have really good quality in the team, and once when it clicks, I think we'll be really good and win the games.
Thank you very much for your time, Vico. You are the player of the match.
Thank you so much.
Thought that was really interesting there, Vico Chauvet, sort of hinting at the game plan that we were discussing about how good Aberdeen were in possession. That's clearly something that Jim Goodwin was trying to sort of get across to his players, and something that they were clearly trying to put into effect today. Did they manage it in the end?
Well, I thought Dundee United done well, especially the first half. They stuck to their game plan. We've seen them enough. We know how they want to play, especially when you're away from home. You need to feel that they are going to sit in, soak up a lot of the pressure, understanding that Aberdeen are going to have the ball, but can you be that threat going forward? Can you transition quickly? And at times they did do that. They did put them under pressure. So I think 1-0 is probably about right, even though we have spoke about Aberdeen having a lot of possession of the ball, but they were right in what they said. There wasn't too many opportunities that you can think of.
No, I think Dundee United's game plan was working perfect. I mean, they sat in and they denied space behind. Aberdeen had a load of possession, but possession doesn't win you games. They had no real efforts on goal, and then Dundee United scored on the break. Perfect game plan. They come out the second half and start the same, and then the goalkeeper makes a mistake. Somebody shoots for 20 yards, goalkeeper makes a mistake, and then goals change games. You then have to come out because you feel like you want to win the game. You feel hard done by. Although you're away from home, you still want to try and go and win it. And end up both teams don't threaten enough, and it ends up one each. But Dundee United's game plan was working, and when you get a 1-0 lead, you're delighted. You then want to keep that going, and then to concede that goal. That's what Jim Goodwin, you saw his face, he looked gutted about the way they conceded the goal. Right,
well, let's look at the moment where it did work. Right, Amar Fatah in the first half. We know that, I guess, from a Devlin perspective, Nicky Devlin's going to be disappointed with how this panned out. But I suppose this is the moment when you've had so little of the ball, and you keep switched on enough to create this opportunity, because they still had to create it and they still had to execute it. That's when it works.
Yes, that's when it works, because you create the space behind Aberdeen. Aberdeen then need to defend. You nick in, and now you're in this scenario. I mean, you've never seen Aberdeen in this scenario, having all the possession. When you don't have possession, you get these chances to break away.
Yeah, but you need to remember, this is what they train for. So they're waiting for their opportunity. Chauvet just, it's more of a clearance than an actual pass. Of course, Devlin has to go and deal with it, get his head on it possibly. He doesn't. In fact, you know he wants to come in on his right foot. You need to try and show him the line. Unfortunately, he couldn't. And it was a good finish.
And then the danger then from that perspective is that then Aberdeen get themselves back into the game and nick a goal back, which is what they did. Yes, we're Kelson with this. But I suppose in this moment as well, and we sort of touched on it earlier, it's moments of, and would you say this was moments of individual error? Because I guess if you're Dave Richards, you know, I would imagine that Jim Goodwin's going to have something to say about that here, because this is what's cost them.
Yeah, it is, because Richards, the players in front of him are putting in some shift. Now, they're protecting him for a huge percentage of the game. This is his chance now to do his bit. You need to palm that, you need to catch that, or you palm that round the post. Simple as that, and it's not even mentioned. He palms it, he cushions it down.
I think he's get caught in between both. I actually spoke about this earlier before the game even started. You see a lot of goalkeepers now trying to parry it out wide. Yeah. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't. I think he was in between there. Do I catch it or do I try and get rid of it? it's kind of in between, and it's given Carlson that opportunity. And he's a live wire, so he's always going to follow in, and that's exactly what he done. That's his goal.
But here's the issue, though. That's the risk and reward with that type of football, isn't it? The risk and the reward is that for those moments, and when you're out of possession, you know what you're sort of drilled into doing. But when it goes against you, then things have to change. The game plan changes. It opens up more space, which is, I guess, what we saw in the second half.
Yeah, you risk teams coming on at you and maybe having shots and maybe putting balls in the box, but that's what you need to defend them. I mean, when a player has a shot for 20-25 yards with no much power on it, you want your keeper to hold on to it. If he holds on to that, we're not even talking about that. We're not even talking about it being a good save.
How do you legislate for that then in that type of style of football? How does Jim Goodwin legislate for individual errors?
You can't.
You can, and you see the disappointment on me. I don't think, as I said before at the start of the show, Walton's not been replaced. There was a lot of clean sheets. Jim Goodwin's big on clean sheets, hence why he plays this style of play. Walton last year was making these saves, putting them around the post, holding on to it. And again, as I say, we don't even speak about it.
Kucherenko comes in, has a bit of a difficult time. Then they change the goalkeeper again. Dave Richards comes in. They wanted a more experienced goalkeeper, which they've got. And you're going to be under pressure at times, and you need your keeper to come up with big saves. We see it week in, week out, and unfortunately it wasn't to be the day.
I wonder then if there's that as an area that Jim Goodwin's already thinking about for January.
I think there's no doubt about it. He's got to be.
Have we been a bit harsh on Dave Richards?
In that scenario there, if I'm a centre half, having put all that work in, defending my box, blocked shots for him many a time, Esselink putting their body in the line, for a shot to come in at that pace, what's
unfortunate for goalkeepers? They're the last line of defence, if you want. And it's ultimately true. If you make a mistake as a goalkeeper, you're normally punished. As a back four, we've played in back fours. You look behind you, you've got a goalkeeper there that can kind of help you out. Yeah. It's always scrutinised when you're a goalie, when this sort of things happen. But in this moment, you need your keeper to come up with a save or put it round the post, give away a corner, whatever it may be, because they did defend the box really well. I'm sure that's something that Jim Goodwin will be saying.
As simple as this, catch a thing or palm it round the post, as simple as that. Palm it out of danger, don't cushion it right in your 6-yard box for somebody to tap it in.
That's what I was going to ask you, because the keepers union are going to be screaming at the telly saying, right, well, what do you want me to do?
Well, palm the thing round the post or catch it. I think that's the first rule in goalkeeping. I mean, I wasn't a goalkeeper, but you don't palm it down for the striker to tap it in front of you. I don't know what he's trying to do. I think
he's just in between.
Yeah, he's in between.
He's in between. Do a hold on to this, or do a palm it out of danger.
You'd be absolutely human, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course. Like, you're as one, so it's difficult. You don't want to say it's the goalkeeper and it's the defence. They're all in it together. Unfortunately, yes, he's made that mistake, and they've scored from it because defensively, defending the box, they were good. As a back three, back five, balls coming in the box in the first half, they were just mopping them up all day long. They'll deal with that. Jim Goodwin would have been happy with it. He just wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, even Richards made a good save in the first half. It's a good save. He puts it around the post. You think, right, okay, good. He's made a good start in the game. He must be confident. We're into the second half now. Just catch it, palm it around the post.
I'd be quite interested to hear, actually, what Jim Goodwin's got to say about that. We're going to be hearing from both managers, Jimmy Tilleen and Jim Goodwin, in just a second. It'd be interesting to see who is the happier of the managers. We'll find out after this short break. Stay with us here in Premier Sports. Welcome back to Pittodrie in the Scottish Premiership. It was Aberdeen 1, Dundee United 1. Let's get some reaction from the managers. Jim Goodwin has been speaking to Stephen Craigan.
Jim, a tough 90 minutes for both sides. What's your take on the game?
I think the draw is probably the right result at the end of the game. I thought Aberdeen were, the better team in the first 45 minutes. We get our goal against the run of play. We set up to be dangerous on that counter-attack and isolate our wide players in 1v1s, and Fatah does brilliant, and it's a real moment of quality in the first half for us. The second half I thought we were a lot better. I thought the second half was a lot more even in terms of chances for both teams and penalty box entries. We're really disappointed with the equaliser. For all of the good possession that Aberdeen did have, a lot of it was in front of us. I thought the shape of the team was good. I thought my two midfielders put in a hell of a shift, Sevelj and Sibbald, and won a lot of those battles in there, because Aberdeen create lots of overloads in the middle of the park, but the two of them put in a hell of a lot of work, and it's a decent point on the road for us. We're competing with Aberdeen, we know the quality of the players that they've got, you know, at the top end of the pitch. You know, they've invested heavily in the summer with the likes of Carlson and Armstrong and Nisbet and those players. So I think, you know, overall the performance was okay, but I think we can play a lot better.
Just touching on the goal scorer, Amar Fata. He got a similar goal recently against Rangers. He really has quality, and when he's given that space and that opportunity, he just glides past players and makes it look easy, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. You know, he's shown that bit of quality in, you know, numerous times this season, and you know, we've had a good conversation a couple of months ago about adding those, you know, goal scoring contributions to his all round game, you know, assists and goals, and he's certainly done that in recent weeks, you know. But he's a terrific young talent. You know, we're very lucky to have him on loan, and you know, he's only going to get better as far as we're concerned. I suppose, you know, the frustration from us is that we didn't do enough on the ball. We weren't able to get enough good quality service to the likes of Waters, Sapsford and Fata in those moments. But the boys dug deep. You know, they showed a lot of resilience. I thought we defended the box particularly well. I thought we carried a real threat with set plays, you know, corners and the long throws, and you know, sometimes, you know, you don't get the break of the ball, and unfortunately tonight we didn't.
When the game goes 1-1 and Aberdeen have been on top for quite a spell of the game, there is a feeling that the home side will go on and comfortably win the game. So you must be delighted with the character that your team showed, not just to stay in the game, but then to pick up the baton and take the fight to Aberdeen and almost look as if you were the team that was likely going to win it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, we you know, I'd never ever have to question the work rate and the commitment of the players. You know, from the beginning of the season, you know, there's been, you know, the odd mistake here and there leading to goals. I think tonight, as I said, it's a goal that we should deal with better. But you know, in saying that, you know, I can't question the work rate and the togetherness of the team. You know, we've come into a really difficult venue tonight, missing a lot of key players. You know, our captain is injured, Ryan Strain. You know, Pan Kamara, Lucas Stevenson, who's been probably one of our most consistent players. So we've got 4 big players missing, and you know, we don't carry a big squad, so we're quite light in a lot of those areas. We would have likened to be able to freshen up the midfield tonight, but unfortunately we didn't have that luxury.
We spoke before the game and we spoke previously about draws, but when you consider you've drawn at Ibrox and Easter Road, Tynecastle, now Pittodrie, they're not the games that you're possibly expecting to win. It's the other ones where you're dropping points. Is that holding you back slightly?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I mean, you know, we have drawn far too many games. You know, it's definitely better than losing too many games. But, you know, I spoke to you in recent weeks about trying to turn these, you know, draws into victories, and that's what we're searching for at the moment. But we've competed really well against all of the top 6 teams of late. You know, we're unbeaten in all of our recent fixtures against them. You know, we just need to build on it. You know, we're unbeaten now in the last 4 games. We've got another tough one coming on Tuesday. I watched bits of the game against Celtic today, and you know, Livingston carry a real threat, you know, on their own patch, and we know how difficult a venue that's going to be. So the recovery process now is going to be really important between Saturday and Tuesday, making sure we get a bit of freshness back in the legs.
Jim, thanks for your time. Well done. Thank you.
Some really interesting stuff there from Jim Goodwin, and we'll get to the draws in just a second, but I think Amar Fata, we've spoken about him before. We saw what he did against Rangers. He can be dangerous. It's his 3rd goal. Obviously we know he's on loan, but it's about taking advantage of players like this, Alan, when they're at Jim's disposal.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the backroom staff will be working hard to unearth these gems for him to use, because it's over the past couple of seasons, it's been a big turnover of players, and that can be difficult. You want a kind of a steady group, a solid group that you can build on. So hopefully when he gets these guys in, they can contribute to what he's trying to do and what he's trying to build. It's always going to be difficult to keep them, because these are guys that are coming up to play regular first-team football, to go back down to their parent club and hopefully try and break in. But I think he's done a fantastic job. The recruitment's been excellent.
Yeah, that's one thing he's done really well, Jim, is the recruitment. Fat has been a huge part of that. The fact he's keeping Dolchek out the team, who was very good at the start of the season with goals and assists.
Chauvet as well, we mentioned, obviously player of the match. Yeah,
very good. So it just shows the threat that he carries and what he's doing day in, day out in training.
Let's talk about the draws then, because that's now 10 this season so far. And it does get to a point, and I think what Jim was saying is absolutely spot on. You'd rather be drawing these games than losing them. But at what point does that then become a culture, a mindset?
Yeah, although he did say that, you're obviously better drawing them than losing them, but sometimes you're better losing one than then winning, obviously, because you then accumulate more points as the season goes. Again, it comes down to the goals that they're conceding. Jim, they're not conceding loads and loads of goals, but it's just not keeping enough clean sheets. Jim's huge on clean sheets. They deserved a clean sheet today, I thought. I thought that Aberdeen, although they had loads of possession, never threatened a lot inside the box in the final third, and the defenders defended really well, but they never got it.
You've been in a situation like that before where you're consistently...
I can remember 10 draws. I mean, you think there's
That'd be pretty
3 in the
unusual.
last 4.
Yeah.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, it's been a tough run for them, if I'm totally honest. So it's going to be difficult, but they need to get out that rut.
OK, well, we've had a reaction from Dundee United. Let's get it from Aberdeen, because their manager, Jimmy Tilleen, is live with Stephen Craigan.
Jimmy, thanks very much for your time. There seems a real sense of frustration around Pittodrie tonight after the game. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I think like the way the game were in the first half, and like we controlling the game, but then we make it so difficult for ourselves when we have to. In some moment we have to stop these soft goals, because you do a lot of good things, and then you have to chase again at home, and that's the good thing that the players try. They put out the energy and get the equalizer. After that, it was not maybe really the last punch, but the trying, the players come on again. Kenan and Kjartan did well, and so it's some positive things there. But this game we have to be, even if it's not the perfect day in attacking, we have to be more stable, so we don't give away these goals and can win these games when we don't have the perfect day, when you control so many things to try to win 1-0 and don't give them the chance to come into the game. To be fair to them, when they score the goal, they defend well, they defend really deep and they do it really well. They're always dangerous in the set plays. So they also did well with their game plan, but we have to do better and don't give them the goals. We can get out in the second half without chasing the game in that way.
We spoke before the game about Dundee United's ability to transition very well when they won the ball, but is that disappointing from your aspect, because you'll have expected that and you almost play into their hands?
I think we control the transitions quite well. It's just that goal is it's more about ourselves in that moment, and there we have to do better, because and we know that, and everybody knows that. But it hurts them, because then we know how they can play, how they can control do well around their own box, and it's not easy. Of course, we have to do a little bit better with our crosses. How we arrive and attack the ball inside the crosses, take some more shots, take a few shots, and then you get the rebound. So when we play against this low block, we have to do better with don't get stuck to the first defender, and also how we arrive into the box. But it's more about this moment in the game. We have some of these moments at home, and we just need to try to grow in this now and stop doing these kind of things and give us a chance to be in front in the games at home.
Is that a concentration thing then?
No, I think it's just we have to do better and grow and do better, and that's the experience and how we manage the situation, how we help each other in these moments.
When you get back to 1-1, there was a feeling around here that you could have been on and won the game, but it didn't materialise. Why is that, do you think?
No, it's a football game, and then defend well. Also, we tried, but today, that's what my point, when you are facing such a low block and you have to find this extra skill. But I also have to say we have to do better in some of the crosses, and even in the first half we have some situations, but we were not arriving to the spot. The situation was there, the ball went in, but they could easily take it away. So today we were not sharp enough to create from these chances. We were not good enough in this moment when we play against a low block.
Jimmy, thanks very much for your time. Thank you. All the best.
Do you get the sense, given what we saw at half-time, so they were 1-0 down, the fans were booing inside Pittodrie, they were sort of a bit of a mixed bag when it came to the full-time whistle. What the relationship is like and the expectation from the fans here, from Jimmy Tilleen?
Having played here, the expectation for the fans is really high. They expect them to be the third best team minimum. They expect runs in cups, so it's a difficult job here for the players and the manager. The expectation's high. They want to win at home. I think there's a lot Aberdeen can be happy about today in terms of controlling the match. It's just that final third, more shots, more crosses, asking more questions. And when you do that, you then have to defend and guard against the counter-attack more often. But you need to get the fans off their seat and give more shots and more attempts at goal.
Is he doing enough?
As a manager? Yeah, well, look, I think he's got a style that he wants to play. I still believe that he wants to play 4 at the back. I think when he first came in, he played 4-2-3-1. They were playing really well in that situation. He's had to change it through circumstances. So look, I think you need to remember, he's won a cup as well. He wants to be doing better, but yeah, I'm sure he can. OK, we shall see. Thank you both for your company tonight, and thank you very much to you at home for watching as well. We will see you on Tuesday here on Premier Sports. Motherwell against Celtic is on offer. Have a good evening. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.